Okay, let's begin.
Wait, let me just get water.
Oh.
Water, where are you? There it is. Okay. I have like 4 gallons of water in my car. They're everywhere.
Ultraman Powers production history.
Where can I start with Ultraman, the ultimate hero? Well, I can start off by saying that Ultraman, the ultimate hero, may be the greatest production history train wreck to ever grace Tokusatsu. I can say it's the most poorly handled Ultra show in the entire series. I can say it's a project that has suffered from a series of incidents that makes one question: why did they continue to try to make the show? It stopped Subarai's idea of producing shows in foreign environments up to this day, unless you count dubs of the shows made in Japan and brought to other countries. It most likely killed Gridman Sigma, Gridman the Sigma male,
Yeah.
uh,
And
and they planned Hong Kong Ultra show. I think we can all see the efforts of Ultraman, the ultimate hero slash Ultraman Powered to this day. However, before we can dive into the effects of Ultraman Powered, we must start with its
story.
E3. Subaraya Productions have recently struck success with their international release of Ultraman Towards the Future. Ultraman Towards the Future, better known as Ultraman Great, was the first time the Ultra series had hit broadcast television with a new show in over 12 years. Nice.
Yeah.
Almost instantly hitting cult classic status, Ultraman Great was the first major success the company had seen since the Star Ultraman,
It's it,
1979.
it was the first anime, if you're wondering.
Yeah, I didn't know that one actually. Uh, it was amazing for Subaraya. The company had been on the verge of falling into complete irrelevance and bankruptcy for all of the 1980s, and now they finally had the window for a comeback. While it wasn't their biggest window, it was enough for them to promptly begin moving through. Why were they in bankruptcy?
Poor business decisions mostly. Um,
So
Oh,
not
fair
doing
enough.
anything for a decade.
yeah.
Yeah, probably. The first step of this comeback was an attempt to regain a foothold in Japanese television. This attempt would be the creation of a new tokusatsu production called Gridman the Hyper Agent alongside Takara, now known as Karatomi? Tomy,
Toy
yeah.
company.
Yeah, they make Transformers. They're the Japanese company of Transformers.
Oh, nice. Gridman would air on the Tokyo Broadcasting System in 1993, and System. That's a bit weird. I assume it makes more sense in Japanese. And would use new digital effect software, like the portal that's just warping the image slightly, uh, which produced heavily advanced special effects for the time, like warping a photo, and tell the story of a digital superhero, i.e., the titular Gridman. Well, Gridman would begin airing across the globe. Another new show produced by Subaraya would begin to take form. The show you would come to know as Ultraman the Ultimate Hero, aka Ultraman Powered. What is with the two names? Is that just uh
It's the show's original name, and later to distinguish him, it's the show
oh
the what they call
oh
him to distinguish him from the regular Ultraman.
He was the
oh
ultimate hero, but then we had to change the name when there was another one.
Yeah.
I guess
Uh,
so.
Also, I guess we know why that one robot in Gridman looks like Optimus Prime now.
Yeah. Uh, Seeing where America was the place Ultraman Great first found success. Ultraman Great. Uh, mm, and was still fresh in people's minds. Subaraya wanted to hit the American market, while the iron was hot and make it big. Within in early 1992, creators on the Japanese side began to work on concepts for this new series. Was this before or after Power Rangers?
I think this was around the same time.
Because if it's after Power Rangers, it's a little weird that they decided to go for. I guess it's kind of a kid show. But they could have gone a lot more kiddie. Yeah. 93 was when Power Rangers first aired. So, yeah, about the same time.
Yeah, both these shows were not the cash, as far as I know, not the cash in on Power Rangers. It's just a coincidence.
Weird. Then in early 1992, creators on the Japanese side began to work on concepts for this new series. Mike with two eyes, Toshiro, Mihiro Maeda, and Shinji Higuchi were called in to begin developing concept art and design the monsters and technology of Powered. Members of the yet-to-be-established Gonzo Studios, you know that they're good to work with, most likely brought in by Mihiro Maeda. Sorry, I was burping. Were also called in to assist with design work. Designers like Steve Wang were brought in to give opinions and pitches for the design of the new Ultra, and screenplays started to be written by Ito Kazunori and Hiroshi Yamaguchi. While they worked, the executives at Subaraya began to brave the international waters to find a partner to help them make an American show. Subaraya's ambitions haven't been as high as this for a long time.
Ominous music starts playing.
Oh, it's that guy again.
Yeah, it's good old Bat Starfish Man.
Petra.
This looks like he kind of looks like a rejected like D villain. Like, this is the aliens didn't make it in. It's on the other side of the Pacific, the problems would lie. All throughout the product. While the Japanese side of production was hard at work trying to make the best feeling and looking show for America, Subaraya found their business partner, Major Havoc Studios.
Oh boy. Well, that's foreboding.
So what is Major Havoc Studios? Who made up Major Havoc Studios? I assume it's Major Havoc. Where did Major Havoc Studios come from? Well, the answer for all these questions is almost 100%, and I don't know. Okay. They just appeared one night. Major Havoc Studios, from what I've been able to gather, was a small production/film studio made sometime shortly before Ultraman the Ultimate Hero came into existence. The studio also seemed to have been comprised of or had a sizable number of Japanese Americans attached to it. There is no specific date when it came into existence or other works they contributed on outside of Ultraman, the Ultimate Hero. There's a chance that Ultraman Powered was their first major production, always a good sign. As far as I know, it was a studio of nobodies with nothing to back it up, and it was perhaps one of the worst business partners Subaraya could have chosen to take on the product.
To be fair, there was probably a worse one.
I think they should have, I think Asylum was still around.
No, I'm talking about Zapote Sands.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not still trying to wrestle for the Ultraman copyright, so I guess they were a better choice than him.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Zapote Sands would have made a better movie. You never know.
I doubt it.
Probably not, though, given his other output. Here stated and abundantly made clear as we go deeper into the project. Even before the series was given the green light, issues regarding communication began, all throughout negotiations between Major Havoc. Major Havoc sounds like a bad wrestling heel. And Subaraya, there was strife and contention. Whether it was Subaraya questioning which resources were truly necessary for the show's production, or Major Havoc's consistent push to raise the budget even higher than it already was, or the general problems that came with communicating across the ocean at the time. There were issues all over. Tsuburaya wasn't experienced in making shows in American, and typo, and Major Havoc wanted to contribute as little as they possibly could in funding the project, as God intended. After a few months of debate, the studios finally came to agreement on the budget, which, despite King Wilder's insistence, King Wilder also sounds like an Ultraman villain.
This was his evil plan.
Yeah. Was higher than Ultraman Towards the Future by another 12 million minimum. Damn. A set year and half per production, and a set agreement of conditions that had to be met. It's important to note for the future of this post, every single thing that happened along the production was out of Tsuburaya's pocket and out of Tsuburaya's control. Major Havoc seemingly did not contribute financially to Ultraman Powered. In fact, there seems to be great cases of budget mismanagement while working on the show too. Executives for Major Havoc even used funds and income that was supposed to be for Ultraman Powered to go on vacation locations, such as Hawaii and Las Vegas. Typos. And these people were in charge of the production and all decisions regarding the show. People that were more concerned with having fun with their money than putting it into their work. So,
oh boy.
Tsuburaya basically accidentally fell into a scam studio, basically.
That may actually be the case.
I mean, they did end up actually making something in the end.
Yeah, I guess that's
I will
true.
say, you know, Power has its problems, but I can say it does look like a show.
It does look like a show.
Oops,
we embezzled all our money. This was actually a laundering money scam. Again, we might as well talk about the men and women who would be creating the show. Directors, editors, writers, and all other important production staff members needed to make the show function. Them, like Major Havoc in itself, were seemingly a bunch of nobodies. People with extremely little experience to no experience in the field. Some members of the production staff even admitted to it being their first official job in the field. Those who did have experience worked on products like Cannibal Woman of the Avocado Jungle of Death, Night Game, Bikini Car Wash Company 2, Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity. Oh, they did Trolls? Sweet. Underworld. I assume not the famous 2000 series.
Wasn't that one from Russia?
Maybe. Robot Apocalypse, Sorority House Massacre 2, and countless other B-grade horror movies, exploitation films, and countless other schlock. What exactly is an avocado jungle of death?
I don't.
Is that a jungle?
I don't even think the people who made the movie know.
Maybe it has to do with like that infamous avocado hand thing. Where people who don't know how to cook just put their kitchen knife through their hand.
Maybe. Has Bill Mayer in it.
Maybe they should have gone with somebody like Troma or something.
Honestly, probably would have been better.
People with no experience. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was a mix.
Yeah. It was a mix of people with no experience, or the wildest kind of experience, and both sides had no standing ground in the genre / type of show that they were working on. The most accredited people on the staff at the time of production were the 2 cinematographers, one of which worked on Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Nice. outside of those two, no one else had anything to write home about.
Yep, that's cinematographer for those fight scenes.
Yep.
To be fair, that's probably not his fault.
Did you know that the first Terminator movie was made with literally a $0 lighting budget? It's pretty amazing.
That probably explains why it's so
Basically, they had to scout around locations in Austin that had mercury vapor lamps because they were the only lamps that you could like see shit with the equipment on at the time. Yeah. John Carpenter was really good at money like
Look
that.
at this poster.
It is indeed Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity.
These people would bring you an Ultraman show.
I mean, it says it's a big movie, big production, big girls. So, are you saying that they lied?
I'm guessing the actual movie didn't look like this.
Okay.
Due to how short-handed Major Havoc was, many people had to play multiple roles in the production. They were running back and forth really quickly.
It turns out all the actors were played by one person, running back and forth really quickly.
Yeah. People could be sharing duties as an editor, director, actor, and writer, all at the same time. Jesus.
Yeah, we just need you to be in front of and behind the camera at the same time.
And editing.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to sleep for like 3 weeks. Sorry about that, but we need you here.
Yeah, where you're gonna get it. You're gonna write the script. You're then going to edit the script, act out the script, and tell the other actors what to do as well. People and resources were thrown about all over, and despite Subarai's budget funding, the budget was still slim. The chaos didn't end there. Things also seemed to be done on a rather short time frame, and work always seemed to be done at a rapid pace. Suit filming was done in 4 weeks flat. Aw, yeah, baby!
All of the suit scenes for the entire series?
Yeah.
I guess so.
How
That's a
insane is
little
that?
impressive, honestly. I was drinking. I'm sure you heard me crackling my water bottle. Scripts were rewritten from the JP source material in 7 to 10 days at most. These guys are putting fucking Asylum to shame. And who they could get to work on what days were always confused. Many members of the crew had to do an array of odd jobs to help production go down smoother. Whether it was having to drive the props around to where they needed to be filmed, or working as a security guard and keeping an eye on the warehouse overnight because they couldn't afford to hire one.
Okay, remember that the CEOs of Major Havoc are on vacation right now in Hawaii as this is all going on.
Yeah, apparently. We're lucky the Dada suit wasn't stolen, I guess. Some people even used Major Havoc's office as a place of residence during production. During COVID, there's a really funny video on the Asylum Twitter, where there's like 2 people at the studio when it was done that were actually at the studio, and they're having a birthday party for the 2 people there. It's pretty great. A consistent feeling of we don't have a clear idea of what we're doing laid over the production. Yet somehow, still less work than most video game studios.
Yeah, I have to say, like these people.
Things felt like they were being constantly rushed. Resources may or may not have been properly used, and the people are scattered.
Yeah, we're not
This,
sure
of
about the
course, led to
vacation thing. We're not sure if that was a good idea or not. So.
Yeah, This, of course, led to some interesting hiccups in production. 2 of the more infamous hiccups are one where the set builders, joking, said they would build the buildings that would be used in giant monster fights out of cardboard to play up the camp angle. However, when the joke reached the people over at Subraya Productions, they did not know it was a joke. Immediately, they sent over experienced model builders to construct sets for them to use. Due to time and budget constraints, they couldn't stay over for long or construct too many sets. This joke caused the show to be held back even more and took away from the already meager budget.
Jesus Christ.
This is like when there's the famous stories at Marvel Studios where Stan Lee would like casually say something and everybody would scatter to make it true, and then Stan Lee would come back as like, "Hey, why'd you do that?"
You know, I'm kind of suspecting that at the top it was a complete scam, but the people underneath who were like just set up as an excuse and legal cover actually wanted to make the show.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, this is like a reverse Bible Man situation, I guess.
You know,
So with these new sets, you would think they would use them as much and often as possible. They use them to some extent, yet most of the filming continued to take place in random outdoor settings and in a parking lot, because major Havoc limited studio space made it hard to film. That monster, though. One of the most famous incidents that displays poor communication, poor timing, and how scattered the production was, is one that I like to refer as Red King of the Highway. That's
That picture.
yeah. Red King of the Highway sounds like a pulp novel. This is the rejected like pulp novel that Robert E. Howard made, in which the staff had to deal with the sudden need to transport their other Red King suit. You see, usually to transport the suits and other assorted props, the production staff had a large truck to bring what they needed from point A to point B. What happened that day was the production staff had already brought everything they needed to the filming site. Later that day, the people at the storage warehouse got a call saying they needed the second Red King suit. Due to the limited time frame they had to work under, they couldn't bring the truck all the way back to the warehouse and back. So to transport the Red King suit, they had to stuff it in the back of a Honda Civic and drive it somewhere around 4 miles down the highway. Could you imagine you're like speeding down the highway and you see the fucking Red King suit go by? The suit would then be proceeded to be thrown down a cliff. We need the suit. Thanks. Yeah, I was thinking about the scene where that suit's thrown down the cliff. Red King's like 70 meters. The Grand Canyon is like, on average, about a mile deep. A mile is about 1.6 kilometers, so like about 2 Red Kings, 2.5 Red Kings would be a mile. So yeah, I think the scale's off.
He fell down the Grander Canyon.
Yeah, I guess so. All sorts of chaos happened during the production of Powered. They made specialized defense force cars they deemed too ugly to use, so they just proceeded to rent Jeeps, or a Hummer, for the rest of the show. They rented Jeeps? They literally just rented the cars? Okay. That's really inefficient. The studio space was limited, and the storage space was poor. Some constructed sets would greatly attract heat, making it hard to film in them for long periods of time. The only real thing for going for this production was how close by everything was to each other, including the costume workshop.
That's a monster we haven't seen yet. Anyway.
Blowing my nose. Now, perhaps the suits are the most infamous aspect of Ultraman the Ultimate Hero. I feel like most Ultra fans have heard the suits were fragile. However, the issues go deeper than that. Let us start with the Ultraman powered suit in itself. The suit was made by industry professionals who worked on films like Batman Returns, Predator 2, Star Trek 6, and Edward Scissorhands, to name a few. Their intent was to make a skin-tight suit, one that would be sleek and cool and appeal to people looking for a sharper aesthetic. The suit would be made out of a thin layer of rubber foam, followed by a dense layer of skin-tight latex, with over 1.5 inches of rubber foam over it, and finally clay for additional detail. It was then given an attachable mask made out of fiberglass and had exposed wiring in it.
Oh.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. They succeeded in the goal of making a sharp, skin-tight, modern suit. Though this suit would have multiple issues. It was hard to move around in, cut off blood circulation, was hard to breathe in, got hot extremely quickly, and let us not forget, was still very fragile. Okay, we're gonna need you to spend another 5 hours in the suit. Ah!
Okay, we lost the first Ultraman actor. He quit. What do you mean quit? He died.
Just
Jesus.
that lower right picture looks like they're butchering Ultraman.
Yeah.
Oh, there's actually a lot of suits. Dang.
Yeah. What? I was gonna say something. All 13 Ultraman powered suits were built like this. Why did they need 13?
Lucky number.
I guess so. There was also the potential dangers of having a mask made out of fiberglass with exposed wiring in it. I don't know what you're talking about. That seems perfectly safe to me. There was the chance the wiring could burn the suit actor's face or set fire to the mask. This seems up code to me. Power suit had to be given tubes and a special vest filled with ice to allow the suit actor to breathe easier, lower the risk of heat stroke, and pad out the suit. They do the same thing with Disney suits, actually, at the parks. So if you ever see, those Disney suit actors, they are just having, they're probably filled with, water in their suits, just walking around.
This actually kind of reminds me the original Godzilla movie, where Super Aya, it was one of the first cracks at a giant monster movie. Yeah, if you don't actually know, the suit was hell to move in a lot of places. But Super Aya learned a lot from it, like how exactly to have an actor be a little bit more comfortable in it. Apparently, American studios don't understand that.
No, we didn't need it.
Yeah, it's still cool. It doesn't have to be practical.
If it was a skin-tight suit, does this mean the Ultraman powered actor did in fact have to wear a codpiece?
Please,
I wanna
I
know.
don't know. Please, let's just continue. Please, no. Demon.
In some shots, you can see the tubes push against the suit because it was so tight. It wasn't the powered suit alone that had issues. Take, for example, the Dada suit, which is too tight around the legs and prevented the suit actor from freely moving around and cut off blood circulation. You don't need blood. The head of the Dada suit was also too heavy and brought strain the suit actor's shoulders and caused further balance issues. Steps 1 foot, falls over, can't get up. There were rumors that they had to put the suit actor in the Dada suit on a swivel to simulate movements. The Red King suits were filled with mechanisms that made it rather heavy and caused strain on the wearer similar to Dada's head. The suits were also painted with aluminum paint! Oh no!
They
Which
fired
is known-
explosives at them.
Which is known for being rather flammable. Being suits such as P-Star, Zambalar, and Powered at Risk during scenes that called for more pyrotechnics. form movement and being surrounded by fire while wearing a flammable suit is not a good mix. I don't know what you're talking about. Get in the suit right now, sir. No. These suits also attracted heat rapidly, and now, allow to remind you, most of the show was filmed outside in a parking lot in the LA heat. It never gets below like 60 in LA. It's kind of crazy.
You know,
Drinking.
The fuck?
they should have used some of that budget that they went on vacation with to hire people who knew how to make suits.
Hey, I mean, it looked nice. You'd just die in it. Thankfully, all the filming for these shots were done on a rather quick time scale and all under 4 weeks. So the suit actors weren't at risk for too long. The fights are also done in a slow, careful manner, not just because of the dangers of the suits and their fragility, but to meet with American TV censorship laws and how much danger and action they could put into a live-action show of this manner. Really. Nothing too graphic or violent was to be used if they wanted to meet an all and for all ages content rating. Are you telling me American children can't be like Japanese children and just have, Ultraman brutally murdering monsters in their show? Well, what's wrong with us? So no slicing and dicing of kaijus, no permanent injuries, no strong punches, kicks, or so on were allowed. Can't even kick them strongly. Light grappling and pushing were pushed forward. This also meant the scripts, which already had gone through rewrites, had to be changed once more to help stay within the rating. I want to point out. Wait.
Um.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I think Zilla might have gone out.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to point out there was all this age rating stuff. Dada kills people. Dada literally vaporizes people.
Yeah, that's
but we
fine.
could strong punch.
Murder's A-okay.
I mean,
punching someone, no.
For one thing, maybe they could have just sped up the camera footage, and for another, just say screw it and go for a teen rating, and then, no one's going to come for you if you let younger kids watch it.
Yeah.
Also, Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's true. Power Rangers allowed for quite a bit of violence.
The exact same time this show probably came out.
Yeah. Censorship laws, man, they're weird. Things were done in constant crunch time. Resources were low and scattered. Major havoc. Rarely ever put at the... I know it's the studio, but I keep imagining like a Sergeant Slaughter character in charge of this production. Oh yeah, brother. That wasn't Sergeant Slaughter, but
That was Macho Man.
yeah.
I know
Management was all over the place, and like in Hawaii, the suits were dangerous, and the show was being filmed in a parking lot. You may wonder, where is Super in all this? Well, they couldn't really get involved in the show's production. Due to the contract for the show, Super couldn't have a large hand in the production of the show, aside of some small help, such as the previously mentioned set construction. They could check and make sure things seemed to be on the right track, but they couldn't get on the set themselves and get into the mix. This came as a disappointment to both the workers at Subaraya that helped plan out Ultraman, the Ultimate Hero, and the American production cast. The American staff did go on to say how they wish that Subaraya could have assisted with the show's production more than they had. They felt that Subarai's input and experience would have made the process go along much smoother. There's Ultraman standing there threateningly.
He's being the referee.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're done with the filming. It's time for the real shit to begin.
However, in the end, it got finished. It got finished, and since it got finished, you must ask why it was not brought to air. The answer is rather simple. It was too expensive. To air the show in America, they had to pay royalties for every single actor that appeared, no matter how minor of a role they played. This is viewed as too pricey for Subaraya, and they backed out, preferring to air the show in Asia, where they only had to pay the main cast for their contributions. I like this show was like made entirely to get into the American market, and then it was too expensive to get into the American market. This is where we get to the biggest short-term effect on Supro. I believe I'm assuming that's a shortened form
Yeah,
of
Subaraya.
portmanteau. By Ultraman Powered, and that is the cost of the show. In addition to putting the budget for the show by themselves, Super Fry also got dumped with all the other fees for Ultraman, the Ultimate Hero, union fees, debt gathered by the show. They were paying their Yakuza debts, I guess. Excuse me. Paying the actors, paying the crew that was under the employment of Major Havoc, all of which was to be covered by Subraya. Subraya was having to pay for producing Gridman, as well as having to cover the attempt for mass marketing of Powered at the same time. So, what exactly did Major Havoc pay for? Nothing?
Vacate. Um.
No, they didn't pay for their vacations.
Yeah, so
Um.
I guess they paid for some guy to stand and watch the suits.
Oh, $2.
Ultraman Powered, similar to Great, was planned to have a whole entire toy line that was already in production in Asia and also had a video game. I bet that's a great game. That video game being Ultraman Powered for the 3DO, made by Bandai.
Oh my god.
The toy line in Asia did not gain great success. The toy line never reached America, and the game, when it was released, was not a big success, probably because it's on the 3DO. Powered effectively bled Subaraya of its cash.
Supro?
Supro, yeah, I guess it's a portmanteau.
I guess.
Due to this, many things were canceled, such as Gridman Sigma. I'm sorry, I still can't get over the name. However, did not get to live on in the form of a short series in a TV coup back in 1994. I have no idea what that is. And the planned Hong Kong Ultra series, and the productions were halted. So, like, did Hong Kong just not get Ultraman for, like, a decade because of this?
No, they didn't weren't able to make their own show in Hong Kong.
Oh,
So we got bootleg Ultraman.
yeah, bootleg Ultraman instead. Wasn't Dragon Knight. I can't remember what it was called now.
Dragon Force. So
Yeah, through the fire and the flames. The Powered gamble blew up in Supro's face. From there, we all know the direction the company took and how they tried to make up for the losses and bring back Ultra once more through Ultraman Neos. Is Ultraman Neos any good, or is it like incredibly low budget?
Never heard of it.
They never were able. They didn't make it initially. They said they made Tiga, which was an instant classic, and did amazing
Oh,
toy sales and
fair
killed the
enough.
company.
So where does Ultraman Powered stand now? Well, in Super Eye's eye, is another installment of their Ultra series. Powered was one of the first new Ultras Japan had seen in over a decade and gained a surprisingly sizable fan base. He was popular enough to put on merch, throw into stage shows, and even have direct-to-video content. Yeah! Heck, he thankfully even got a whole new suit when he got to Japan. So, Japan getting the suit, like, we can't use this. Powered had a Blu-ray release of his series in recent years that have seemed to sell rather nice. He's fondly remembered as an ultra for a generation and one that helped Subaraya regain a foothold and face in Japanese television. I think someone just looked at me really, really threateningly when they were opening their car. So anyway, despite the short-term loss of the show, Powered ended up helping. Well, that's nice, I guess.
Look, the suit may have been a danger to the actor, but they managed to make his eyes grow red.
Subaraya was paid in exposure.
Man be dying in his suit for even longer? Would there be Gridman Sigma? Would the Hong Kong Ultra series be a success, and Subaraya would have continued to make shows for completely new forward environment? Would Ultraman Tiga exist? How long would it have been until Subaraya Productions fully returned to Japan to make new Ultra shows? Who is to say? I personally feel that if Power succeeded in the way Subaraya hoped, the future of the series would have been changed forever. Then again, who is to say? I may not be the biggest fan of the show. I love the Ultra and himself, and his host Kai. I hope to see them return to the series one day. I also hope that everyone remembers the story of Ultraman Power's production, for there isn't one quite like in all of Tokusatsu. I did like that when they made it for American audiences. They didn't just make it a white guy in the suit. They made an Asian guy instead.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. Well, I guess that's done.